Yeah, she's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's at work to safe haven. Checking 12, take a check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 point start, take your shots.
Officer still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody?
Temporary.
Thanks. Anyone else close, might just see something, let me know.
Thank you. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Still doing some work on Sebastian Rogers there. Just kind of, I apologize for bumping it back a few. I was just trying to make sure that I could get that done before we get into this. So I want to say thank you guys for joining the Idaho 4 show. Appreciate it very much. We're going to be covering, here's Baby Angel too. Oh, baby. Yeah, I know it's your favorite spot, huh? We're going to be covering the court hearing today. I'm going to be going through a few different things when it comes to the change of venue. Finally, it happened. Now they're going to be trying to see if he can still wear street clothes, quote, suit and tie, instead of having to wear the jumpsuit. They allowed him to do it in Latah County. Now this is going to be Ada County, and they're going to be having that court hearing today. So we're going to cover a couple of those things. I did mention before that I was going to show you the footage when I was there for the year anniversary, and we'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and show you some of that too. Plenty of footage, a lot of it. I don't even think this has been uploaded or published, to be honest with you. I think all of my Idaho 4 footage, and I took a lot. I honestly don't think I published any of it except for the route that Kohberger would have took if he was going to commit the crime. So what I did is I took in daytime and nighttime, but I made this video in daytime because that way you can see all this. Again, here I am, all the security cameras, right? The car was all we got was a stock photo of a vehicle to look out for. They did not release any photos of the actual vehicle itself, which is odd. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to show people, how in the hell is there no footage of this dude's car if you supposedly have it going like you do in the PCA from here to here to here to here. I copied the exact route from the PCA, showed you in the daytime because you can't really see the security cameras. You can't really see them at night. That's why this video shows it during the day, the whole PCA route. And when you count, I did another video. This one is with no commentary. I did a 2-hour version with commentary breaking down all the security cameras, and there is a shit ton. So the fact that you didn't even have a car hey baby, you didn't even have a photo of the real car released to the public when you're trying to find the person that committed this crime. It does not make sense to me, and it really doesn't make sense when you go this route according to the PCA, because there's plenty of footage that he would have been picked up on. Second thing that I did to this video is after I did the PCA route to the crime scene, after that, I showed you guys the route he would have taken if he was trying to commit the crime and get away with it without being on surveillance. And honestly, it's an easier route than the one that he would have had to take according to the PCA. Very interesting video. I broke that down. That was when I was out there for the year anniversary. Now I'm going to show you a clip of what it looked like driving back there to the crime scene right around the time period that everything would have taken place. Now, the important thing is I was there exactly a year, and it was important. Okay. Number one, we found out that the FBI came to rescan on Halloween. The FBI came by to rescan the inside of the property. That told me right there, my intuition said they're going to tear this thing down in between the 2 semesters. So I put my fears aside. I hopped on a flight. I went out there for a whole week during the 1-year anniversary, and it was important because there's plenty of footage out there that gives you the footage of the drive, the PCA route, the house in February. There's plenty of videos that give it to you in December. There's plenty of videos that give it to you in July. Nobody can bring you the footage that I brought you that gets you there the exact time period, because it makes a difference. You know why it makes a difference? Foliage, daylight savings, activity taking place during that specific time period. Very important things when it comes to the footage, because we can show you, just like when we're breaking down Sebastian Rogers. Google has a July 2023 photo. We don't need to break down. We don't need to visit the time period back then. We don't need to go back to another period, because it does make a difference. Let's be honest. Does the sun not set at a different time between February and August? Baby. Oh my Lord. Hold on a minute. Come here. Damn. Come here, baby. Hey. All right. Go play with your toy. Damn, she's tearing up my headphones. No wonder I need new headphones. They didn't work the other day. I'm like, what the heck? All right. But it's important because when you're, listen, here's the footage. I'm going to show you. This is so creepy, y'all.
Take the next right onto Lauder Avenue.
All right, I'm going to mute it because, again, okay. Now, it's a little shaky just because the equipment that I had at that time, it wasn't, the thing with equipment, a lot of the times you got to buy this and buy this and buy this, and finally you get something that actually works. It's the shitty part about it. Equipment is just, but I think I got a good, after trial and error, I got a pretty good setup now. So this is us coming up to the road, okay? Now check this out. Now think about it. You can get your July footage. Your July footage is going to have a different foliage. It's going to have a different brightness, darkness, all of that. So coming up here, we're going to turn right, and this is when it gets eerie because we're going to be driving up. All right, this is Banfield right here. You can see the water tower in the top right. You can see the bright light underneath the water tower. That's Sigma Chi's lit up sign on the Sigma Chi house. This is Banfield right here. This is where all that body cam took place, right here. What's up, Rosie? Oh.
Hello, sorry, I was muted.
No, we're good. There we go. Hello, thank you for hopping up. How are you doing today?
Well, thanks to you.
So this is Banfield right here. This is where all that body cam stuff took place. Now this right here is exactly a year. I was there from 11/8/2023 to 11/15 of 2023. And this is important because the first time that I showed up there, okay, I showed up there in the mid-afternoon. The first thing that I do whenever I go out to do any investigating, whenever I go out to do any of it, what I like to do, as I do always, is I like to put myself in the atmosphere. I not only look at things and I put myself in the shoes of a victim, I also put myself in the shoes of the perpetrator. So whenever I go to these places, one side of the brain, ooh, there's an echo really bad. One side of the brain is focused on victim, one side of the brain is focused on perpetrator, and I'm thinking about these things at the exact same time. Okay, what makes sense, how it would have went down, how I would have protected myself, all of these different things. Okay, this is what I'm thinking when I go here. When I got here the first time, I went there and I got there at night because I had to stay in Washington State because I couldn't even get lodging in Moscow. That's why I'm glad that the trial did get moved to Ada County in Boise because Latah County wouldn't be able to handle it. I couldn't even get lodging when I was there a year to the date, and it wasn't even a holiday. It was Parents' Weekend at both universities for those 2 weeks. So there's a lot of parents that already took up the hotel room. So I had to drive quite a bit to get to the location there and back, which was fine. I'm not worried about driving. It's what I do for a living. I actually enjoy it. It's peace of mind when I'm out there on the road. I get to think my deep thoughts without distractions. But I went here and I got here at nighttime, and as soon as I pulled up to the back of the house where the crime took place, I went, holy shit, everything just lined up right in front of me. How you would gain access to the property without somebody noticing, the witness statements in the events and how they take place and who says what. And that tells me, again, I'm looking at how I would have gained access to the property, and that fits with the witness statements. How you can exit the property, same way as I gained entry, because once I got there, I saw, and I'm going to show you guys with the footage here, I saw how I could have gained entry, and there's tools that were laying right there, as in cinder blocks, that you could have literally stacked up and lunged yourself on that third floor deck. So when I'm driving back there and I see also, I also see, holy crap, this foliage completely blocks me from them, but it does not block them from me. And also, when it comes to Google, and this is why I like to rely, I use Google as a tool. I like to rely on my footage to tell me the truth, because Google can lie too. And one thing that you're going to notice, because I'm going to show you guys the Google image, you're going to see the cement patio slab that comes off the property to where the parking lot is, and you're going to think that it's quite a bit of ways, but actually, when you're there, and I'm going to show you this as well, it's just a few steps. It completely gives you. Oh crap! They took it away.
They took it away?
Yeah, it's not on Google anymore. Does shoot. I know I have an old photo of it somewhere in my library in my files. Maybe if anybody can check, maybe I have a video,
I think you do.
like a video that I made where I'm talking about it and it shows the Google image. If anybody's able to find that, let me know. If not, no biggie. But that's one of the things that I do. I put myself there. Also, when we were talking about the incel stuff, unfortunately, we never even got to finish that. Uh, my fault. Uh, when we're talking about the incel stuff, I'm sitting there and I'm going, because I came up with the incel theory at the Queen Road Apartments. Okay, that that will also have the map here. Let me play that for you guys. Actually,
Yeah.
the incel theory at the Queen Road Apartments, because listen, put yourself in this time period, okay? Before you watch this, put yourself in this time period. It's November 2022. It's the first school year where they weren't dealing with COVID lockdowns for a couple years, okay? Put yourself back there. Think about this. The first school year that was trying to be normal after 2 years of being under a weird COVID lockdown. Okay. And think about being an incel. You prefer to be locked down because then you don't have to be social and be exposed to the people that you can't stand, right? But guess what? You're going to go to college for your first year too. And when you show up, you take lodging at one of those apartments for the school year. And you just naturally park in the parking lot behind the house because that's the parking lot where everybody in a certain section of Queen Road Apartments lives. So I put myself as an incel that would just be coming home, having to go to college the first year, have to be around people I can't stand anymore.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I'm just coming home to go park. Like right here, I'm going to play this. This is Incel driving, okay? I'm just coming home from a long shift at Pizza Hut. And I'm tired. And I just, and I'm dealing with the ugly people at Pizza Hut too. Nobody understands how perfect I am. They can't see how perfect I am. They're they're assholes. They're pricks. How could they not see how magnificent I am? CZ, do me a favor. If you want to hop on panel, email me, please, and I'll give you an invite. I apologize. I'm so busy with Sebastian Rogers right now, doing a lot of things in the background. Everything is literally last minute, and I really do apologize. But please, let me know if you send me an email. Okay. Now, this is not necessarily the road that they would have took, but guess what? I had to show there's Linda Lane footage. Okay. There's Linda Lane footage, and this is why I came to this spot, because I wanted to document this is where the Linda Lane footage is coming from. I want to give you guys, there's a lot of talk about a car coming up here and backing up here and boom, boom, boom. Look at this incline, okay? Nobody's driving fast as hell through here. This is another reason why I wanted to show this. Look at the incline right there.
Yeah.
Now you can see the incline. Watch how tight of a fit it is just to make it between, not only before we come up here, right? But watch. Not only before we come up here, but look, as we're coming in here. See how tight of a fit it is? Ain't nobody
Yeah.
driving fast as hell through here. Mm-mm.
No, it's not possible. I think, yeah, I mean, it just shows the benefit of having been there as well. Because I remember I didn't understand all of this until I had seen these videos when I just first started watching, and everything just started to make sense from that incel theory as well. Because this is stuff you just can't know.
No. You can sit there and look at Google image all you want. You can do, But when I take you there, this is why I do the footage, not only to bring everybody back, just like Sebastian, not only to bring everybody back to a time period, but also to document it so that way we can show the truth from really being there. Now, look at how dark it is already. If you haven't seen this yet, your mind is about to be blown. Look at how dark it is right now. Just wait. And look at that incline. Now, watch how tight of a fit this is.
Yeah.
You're not driving fast, because watch.
Mm-mm.
Look how close I come to hitting this truck.
No ways. It doesn't make any, like, it makes no sense.
It does not. Thank you, Glinda Clark. 1 second. I'm going to do a contribution call out here while we're paused. Look at how close, and just wait. This also is an argument for when you leave the scene of the crime, too. That's coming up. Contribution call out. Glinda Clark with the $2 super chat. Hello, CJ. What we talk about? We're talking about we're leading up, showing you footage that I took, but leading you up to my incel theory. Now it's going to be part 2 because I did a part 1 before I went to Idaho. But I did a part 2 after I came back with my footage, with me coming right here. And this is crazy. Watch. You think it's dark now? Watch. This is somebody that's the incel coming home from a hard day's shift at Pizza Hut. He's tired of seeing the people at school. They don't understand how magnificent and beautiful he is. They don't understand. And look, the people, this is important as well. See how we came up to this parking lot right here? Watch. The people that live on the right side of Queen Road Apartments park here and the entrance. The people that live at the left side of Queen Road Apartments park here and pay attention. The people that park up here live on the half that we're on right now, right? The other people that live in these units to our right, these units to our right, park back here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the incel that lives at Queen Road Apartments in that small section we just paused at, and you're coming back here, look at how dark it is if you shut your headlights off.
Yeah. And that's another benefit for the exact same time of year as well, is the darkness. Like,
because when you're thinking northern Idaho, and when you're thinking northern Idaho, you're thinking the top of the United States. I was so close to Canada, it was crazy. Okay, so when you're that high up, and it's November, the middle of November, guess what time the sun is setting, people? So you're talking early mid-afternoon, okay? 4:30 in the afternoon, the sun is setting in Idaho, northern Idaho.
it's important, yeah.
4:30 in the afternoon, the sun is setting. Do you know how dark it is at 3 in the morning? And you're not by any major cities, and you have the people that live out in the country, you know what I'm talking about. Because if you lived in the city and you go out to the country away from all the city lights, guess what? You see a billion more stars, and it's a hell of a lot darker. That's what we're saying about Moscow, Idaho. What's up, commercial? How you doing?
Hi, CJ. Hey,
Thank you for hopping up.
you. My pleasure. Hi, everybody.
This right here, and I'm going to show you the daytime, okay? So you can see what we're seeing. I'm going to show you the daytime. This right here, I have a whole view of the whole entrance to this neighborhood because there's only one exit and entrance to this neighborhood. There's only one. And so basically, when you're right here, as soon as we turn, when you're back here, as soon as we turn on this footage, that's when I can see you sitting back here. As soon as we turn, I can see you all the way up there. I can see you. I can see you. I can't see you right here because the house is in front of me, but guess what? I can see you come around here. Now, when I'm sitting back here, this is another important thing. When I'm sitting back here, because of the drive time that it took to get there and back, I did a lot of my work because I had to do a lot of my work at nighttime too. I had to do a lot of documentation during the daytime. I had meetings and conversations to have with locals during the daytime. During the nighttime, I did a lot of my investigative work because that's when the crime supposedly took place, which was between, I'm just going to say 2:30 and 4 o'clock, even though the timelines have changed even with Ellie.
Yeah.
Because I really do feel like those phone calls to Jack was a sign that something was happening. Okay, that's just me. But you can basically see everything. And when you are this incel, and I'm going to show you the video, and I even have photo that I can show you, but I'm going to show you some video. You can even see like how close you are. You can look in Kaylee's window and see everything if it's open. You can look through Kaylee's sliding glass door and see everything that's going on. You can see everything that's going on in the second floor sliding glass door. You can see inside the kitchen. You can even see if Dylan's going in a room or not. You can see if people are going from the living room to upstairs. You can see Maddie's room. You can see Dylan's. You can see all of this. Wow, that house is actually pretty close too. 1126. Now, just a few steps to the left, and you'll see it on another video. I can see everything that's going on, and I'm hidden from the darkness of the night sky. Again, I'm hidden from the darkness of the light sky. Think about this, people. If you have a window open and you have the lights on at home, how easy is it for your eyeballs to change the light exposure so you can focus from, to see what's going on outside? It's hard to tell because your eyes, your retinas are used to a lot of light being exposed, so it changes, right? Then you're trying to look through here and you're trying to see. That's why you squint. That's why you're trying to, I can't focus. I can't. Guess what? When you're back here and it's this dark and you can literally I'm just standing outside the door of the vehicle. I haven't even taken a step yet. And watch how much it opens up. Now, see how close that slab is right there? That's where Google will lie to you. Look at how I just took one step. Look at how close I am now. Just a couple steps to the left, I can see everything. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is what stuck out to me. This is what instantly told me that the person that gained access to this house jumped from the back right corner on the third floor deck and gained access through the third floor sliding glass door. And that's where they hid until the crime took place. And this is why. See that vehicle in the middle right of the screen? See where the tire is and the roof is? Now look at the middle of that vehicle. That's pretty in line with the third floor deck, is it not?
CJ, you didn't have this thought until you actually traveled out there and saw how close it was, as I recall. Am I incorrect, or
No, that's right.
it took you going there and
I thought,
seeing
yeah,
so much farther?
before I got there, I always thought they gained access from the front of the property.
Hmm.
When I got here and I sat here and I looked and to me, because see how high that road is. Guess what also is as high as that road? The ground that's next to the road. Okay? And the ground that's next to the road is just a few feet from the house. And so there is some kind of slope down, correct? Well, guess what?
Yeah.
The level of the ground on the left side of the house where the doors are at, the sliding glass doors, is a couple feet, about 1.5 to 2 feet lower on the left than it is on the right. And guess what? When you have cinder blocks and landscaping blocks that are already disturbed after the crime took place,
Mm-hmm.
and they could have used those to stack up if they weren't tall enough, and the ground on the right side of the property is already a couple feet higher, so guess what? You can stack a couple of those bricks and you can lunge yourself up onto the third floor deck. You gain access to the third floor sliding glass door, because who's going to know somebody broke in, right? Because supposedly that room wasn't being used anymore, was it? That's why the dog was put in that room when the girls came home.
And CJ, you could make the theory that that door would be open because if the dog's there's a bed on that deck, or it looked like there was like a blanket. The dog would have to go out to relieve himself every once in a while. You could see where they would leave the door open for him to go out. So your theory that the entry is really, this is the second floor from the back,
Yeah.
third floor of the house. If that door is open, you just walk right in.
Because who thinks when you're exactly right. You want to let the dog go potty, you'll let the dog go potty up there. You leave it cracked open just a little bit so it can slip in and slip out. Because you're thinking, who in the hell's going to be able to jump all the way up here
Right.
Yeah.
to get in? But if you're looking at it with, I already see right here, there's access that can be gained on the right back of the property. I can slide into the third floor sliding glass door. You listen to the witness statements first. I thought one of the roommates upstairs was playing with the puppy.
Right.
Hello. The person that was in there to commit the crime came out of the closet that they were hiding in and had to play with the puppy that was used to strangers because it's a college town party house puppy. So it isn't going to bark and it's going to sit there and play around or something. That alarms Kaylee, because that's when the next witness statement says, I think somebody's here,
Mm-hmm.
which would mean that the person that committed the crime opened the door and shut the door and started walking in their direction, which leads me to think that Kaylee then grabbed the K-bar with the sheath off of the dresser that was next to the bed that was given to one of the girls as protection, and she was holding the sheath in one hand and the knife in the other because she didn't know if what she was hearing was actually real or not, because who really wants to think that there's a perpetrator in their house? They want to think it's just one of their college friends
Right.
playing a prank. Unfortunately, when that person came in to the room, then it became a realistic situation, and unfortunately, the crime had started.
You know, CJ, the more I think about this, of this possible entry from the third floor, the more it makes sense to
Yeah.
me. First and foremost, Detective Brett Payne does not cite to either entry or exit. So any window, door is on the table for whatever theory you want to come up with. But there's someone here. You could, okay, so how the sequence goes is, you're right. DM supposedly hears what she believes is Kaylee playing with her dog from right above, because she's on floor 2, and right upstairs, right up those few steps. It's a short walkway relative to first to second floor. And then, so someone's here. They're in the back. Like, people have said, oh, well, that's maybe the DoorDash driver. She's alerted to there's someone here. But Maddie's room, where they are, doesn't face the front. They would not be able to see, like, let's just say a car coming in, or lights, as if they were maybe in the great room where the lights would come in. So someone's here. She might not be so concerned if there was someone on the second floor, if she heard someone on the first floor. But the third floor was sort of set apart in the party house. Like, you wouldn't go up there. You'd certainly, on the second floor, walk right past Dylan's room, because the kitchen's right there, and the great room's there, or go down by the other bedroom, Xana's, because the bathroom's there. But you wouldn't necessarily go up to the third floor. It seemed like it was separate. So her hearing, there's someone here, and that's when everything starts to happen. I think that that's a real plausible theory, in my opinion.
Well, and here's why I feel like they don't know how they left either, because I'm gonna give you the scenario of how I think the crime took place. Okay. I think the person, like I just said, gained access through that entryway, hid in the room,
Mm-hmm.
had to play with the dog, went to the third floor room first. They ended up doing damage. Not only, I think Kaylee was attacked first. Then I think Maddie was attacked after that. The reason I think the sheath was there is because I think she didn't know if she was going to have to put it back in or not, because she didn't know if it was a real threat. That's why the sheath was there, not because the person that committed the crime was going in there to commit the crime with the sheath in their hand. I'm sorry, I don't see that. That's why I think it was the victims as a gift. That's why I think Kohberger's DNA could possibly be on there, because maybe he had pawned it at a pawn shop. One of the girl's boyfriends or friends bought it as a protection gift from a pawn shop, and that's how you got it on the button snap. And I think what they did is they did what they did on the third floor. They walked down to the second floor. Okay. I think they went into Ethan and Zaina's room. That's where that took place. And I think they went back upstairs, because when they were upstairs, I think that alarmed Ethan and Zaina. So, and this is why I'm saying this is why it went down the way that it did. And I feel like they were interrupted. This is why.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they did what they did on the third floor, not to the extent that you get. We're not done with that story upstairs yet. You see what I'm saying? They did the initial attack on the third floor, came downstairs because they were disrupted because of attention from the second floor. They came down to the second floor, took care of the attention, came back, and while you get the statement from Dylan stating that he was walking towards the sliding glass door, I think the person that committed the crime was then walking back upstairs
Yeah.
and finished what they were intending to do with the specified target, which explains the extra extent of the injuries to one victim
I agree. I agree.
on
And
that floor. And I feel like they gained access the same way that they left. Because how are you supposed to tell that somebody leaves there if you're walking along that deck and you just jump off the side into a bunch of leaves and dirt?
Yeah, because I mean, the PCA also says that she saw this person walking towards the sliding glass door, and that's what leads them to believe that he left via the kitchen. But nothing about that actually suggests that he left via the kitchen, especially if she
right.
was in this frozen shock phase. She's not reliable enough to say that direction is where they left, because she didn't. Walking towards the kitchen means they went to the kitchen.
Right.
That's what it means. It doesn't mean that they left
That
at
area is
all.
so small in there, and I, Rosie, to kind of go to your point, she doesn't say he leaves. She
Yeah.
says she looks out, he's walking toward but that area is so tight, and she's closed the door. He could have walked right past her, gone upstairs. But I also look to the PCA for authority. Very rarely you're going to hear these words come out of my mouth, but I will. In terms of, he tried to say that Xana, it could have been Xana. She thinks it was Kaylee who said there's someone here. He said it could have been Xana also. First off, what's he doing changing the witness testimony? Second, I think he had to say that because he wants people to think that they left out the back door, because if it's Kaylee who said there's someone here and not Xana, then there's still business to happen upstairs. But the other thing too is, if you look at the complaint from December 29th, which is based on the probable cause affidavit and which directly led to the order of probable cause and the warrant, it lists the victims in this order: Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, Xana. Or no, I'm sorry, Xana, Ethan. I seem to think that they listed it that way because they know who died first. And I think it was Maddie first. I think Kelly 100% was the target. I think she was the target for many, and I've gone back with 4 of them. It's Ethan was the target, or no, it was Xana, it was Maddie. I believe it was Kaylee because of what you said, because of the injuries, CJ.
Well, this is why I feel that, they can report whatever they want to report. They've already reported BS already, and this is where I'm coming from. If I'm walking through that door and Kaylee is aware and Maddie is sleeping, and Kate, because let's be honest, it's not like the person committed the crime picked her up and laid her legs on Maddie, okay? To me, that says that she was already in the corner. She was scared. Maddie wouldn't wake up. She was hoping that the first call from her phone to Jack would have made him answer. That's why she grabbed Maddie's phone, because I feel Maddie was already past the F out. She grabbed Maddie's phone trying to call Jack and hoping he would answer. And I think what took place is that person walked in the door, saw that Kaylee was aware. You're not going to go after the person that's knocked the F out. You're going after the person that's aware first. Then you'll take care of the person underneath. Because the person that is more of a threat to you is the person that, number one, is on top of another person, and number two is the person that's also holding the weapon. If he went in to commit that crime and went after Maddie first, this is basically how that person would have had to commit it. They would have had to walk in, one hand with the weapon, the other hand used as a shield, to then use a shield to then fight off somebody that potentially had a weapon. If they didn't have a weapon, still, that's a threat to you first. You're
Mhm.
going to have to use your arm as a shield. If I'm that person, I'm not even going to attempt to take the percentage where I could fail more because I'm using my arm. I'm coming at you with a weapon. So I'm not even going to give that person an opportunity to break through my shield. I'm going on the attack first. I'll deal with the secondary, because what can the secondary do to me in that position? They can grab my leg.
Mm-hmm.
No. That's why I feel, and that's, I know it's reported that she did pass away first. That's why I feel that is not legit either, and it comes from a shoddy investigation. And so this is why I feel like when it comes to the incel theory, okay, and it'll be part 2. This is why I feel that the person would just be coming home from a long night at work. They're pulling up to the back of this property. They're pulling up to the back of the property. They're seeing the partying. They're seeing the fun that's going on. They can hear it at their apartment building just a couple feet away, because they can hear it echo through this echo chamber here. The loud music, the girls laughing, the guys having fun. Everybody's having fun, and they're just trying to get away from everybody that disgusts them. And then this is why I think it was planned as well.
Oh yeah,
Because
there's no way that this could have happened in any way, shape, or form without some planning that quickly, to get out that quickly. But let me just clarify: you believe that the timeline is not 4 to 4:25, as the PCA says, or what Mr. Thompson changed it to, which is 4 to 4:30. You believe it was much earlier, CJ, as was first indicated, right?
right before 3.
Before 3.
Right before 3, a few minutes before 3 o'clock.
Right, because that's originally what was they thought, went way back before Kohberger was even on their radar. They said that they thought the crimes happened between either 3 and 4, 3 and 5, something like that. It really made it sound like it was 3-ish and not 4 to 4:50, 4 to 4:30, or 4 to 4:25.
Well, and the important thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just saying, I thought they originally first said was after 2, or between 2 and 3. I think.
Yeah, much earlier, but I think that they want, in a way, they don't want it to be 3 o'clock to 3:30, because they had 2 uniformed officers that are a hop, skip, and a jump away, right, CJ? I mean, Taylor Road, where the stops happened between those 2 cops, that is very close to the 1122 property, CJ, right?
Yeah, it's right across the street.
So how do you
We'll drive by it in a second.
How do you explain that this mass unaliving happened steps away from the campus with 2 of your officers, and they were there for a while? It was from 3 to 3:35, or maybe even before 3 to, and these unalivings are happening just, a few dozen yards away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not very far. It's just right. And I'll show you guys here in a second, because I also want to show you when I'm leaving. I showed you in the beginning how tight it was. I showed you how dark it was. I told you as well, somebody's not leaving at a high rate of speed at the scene of the crime either. The main thing I want to, when I'm doing there, I was out there doing my work, like I was saying a little bit ago, and I would have to do all this stuff during the day, and then I came to do most of my work at night. After I would get done with my footage, I would literally sit in the back of this parking lot with my laptop screen lit up. My face is lit up, and nobody thought I was suspicious whatsoever. So this is why an incel also can hang out and stalk this property and nobody even think twice about it, because if I had a vehicle you never saw before, and I was a dude you never saw before, and I didn't see anybody else sitting out in their vehicle at night every night working on a laptop with the laptop screen lighting up their face, and nobody was suspicious of me whatsoever. And that's important to know, because when a incel can sit back here and stalk the property, there's no limits on the intel that they can gather.
Oh,
Now, when it comes to what I'm going to show you, and I'm going to pause it here in a second, again about the incel is the one that can have this prepared for any moment that is the prime time. This incel can have a bag in his closet in his apartment building for the night that it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm prepared for whatever night that is. And that was the night that Kaylee came back.
right.
Think about the target. Think
Target.
about who just came back. Think about how this had to be planned and be so effective. You don't become this effective when somebody comes back unplanned, half-ass, back to this area. I'm sorry. That means you were prepared. You were in a position to be able to commit this crime at any moment's notice. The last minute change, you could do it. And that's why that person, I believe, lives in this section of Queen Road Apartments. Half of it that's not very lit up, and the other half of it that is, because that's the same person that would have to hear everything that was going on right next door.
Right across the way. Look how close
Right
that is.
next
Yeah.
door.
I mean,
This
we
is-
all
This
we,
is
we
a
all
lot of
saw
the same stuff.
we all saw the video when the cops went there for the for the noise complaint, how loud that music was, that you could literally hear it as they were approaching from the road. Now if there's somebody living in the apartment just across that way, CJ, what's that, just a few yards in that corner apartment, that music would be blaring.
It's
And
right behind me is the elevation is like another, I mean, that hill behind me where we're at right now, it goes up. So it's a big bowl. It's an echo. It's
wow.
an echo. It's going to echo throughout this whole area. And the people that are living there are going to have to hear it every single night. The ones that park in that same spot. Now, see how slow I'm driving, and watch how I almost hit this dumpster. This car is not leaving at a high rate of speed to commit this crime. You're lying, law enforcement.
It's too light.
Watch.
Yeah.
Look at how close I am to hitting that dumpster. Look at how close I am to hitting this bush, going just a few miles an hour. And then if I am driving at a high rate of speed, I'm running into that frickin' cement barrier right there. And just to our right, as you go down, it's literally, watch. You can see, this is, I'll show you. This is Banfield, okay? Hold on one second. Let me skip ahead. And then we're going to get to the, actually, I'm going to, out of respect for the Idaho court, I'm going to be on delay just a few minutes like always. I'm going to play the part 2 so you guys can see it. And then we'll go to the court hearing. So right here is the area that Commercial Zone was talking about. This is Banfield, okay? Now watch. The cops were right there where the cars were at, right by where the here, we're going to come up to it, the fire hydrant, okay?
Right. The red fire hydrant.
Yep, we're going to come up to it. I'll pause it right where it's at, and it is right in that area. To our left is where the fire hydrant is, okay?
And CJ, also there's a walkway by that fire
Yeah.
hydrant that will take you to Queen, right?
Yeah, I'm going to show them here. So when I turn, you'll see the entrance, and then I'll show you the bird's eye view as well, so you can get complete perspective of what we're talking about with the real footage, and then the additional add-ons with Google, because you do need the bird's eye view sometimes too. So it's basically one line of properties. It's not two lines like a normal block is. It's one line of properties. And see that little fence thing right there? Hold on, let me back up just a skosh. Let me get the headlights on it. See that fence right there? See that fence right there to the left, that little yellow rail, okay? That little yellow rail. That right there, okay, is the spot. Excuse me.
Is State v. Kohberger
Is the spot.
over the appearances this afternoon.
Let me see here.
Would state attorneys please represent themselves for the record?
So this is the spot that they're talking about right here. This little area right here.
It's the walkway.
Just
Steps.
that little walkway right there. And it goes all the way down. So the law enforcement was right here by the fire hydrant. They were kind of parked in this entrance here, and literally they were right here where the crime was taking place.
To tell you I'm happy to be here.
They would have had to. There's some audio in the background that's playing.
Responsibility to be here. I want to go over with you.
Is that on my screen? Hold on 1 second.
Expectations of mine.
This is Hitler. This must be the hearing.
No, there's some audio coming through here of the court hearing.
I'm not sure where it's coming from.
File memorandums of law, briefs, etc. Please provide a word.
Commercial zone. It's on your feed.
After
the court hearings coming through it.
I'm hearing something in the background.
Yeah, it's your court. It's court feed coming through your. Because it stops when I muted you. So it's coming through your device somehow.
Brought up with respect to
I'm not logged into it.
for today.
Yeah, you'll have to. It's coming through. I'm sorry. You'll have to back out. And
Okay.
Close out. You might have it open on YouTube or something.
Okay, I will do that. I'll be back.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through the part 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the video in chat and might be able to. I really want to go through it with you guys. So depending on how long the court hearing is going to depend on if I am able to go through it, because I have to do some more work for Sebastian Rogers' case tonight, and I got to give myself a little bit of a break because we did a early show this morning.
Full day.
Yeah, put in a lot of hours. I definitely need to give myself a break, but I really want to go through that part 2 with you guys and some of this other stuff. Give me 1 second here. Where is it? Because I know I had it already ready. Where in the heck is it? All right, here it is. So it's just going to be a couple minute delay. Oh, I guess not.
Get along. I understand the stakes in this case are as high as they can possibly be in any case.
Wow, look at these cameras.
You are professionals. You take oaths as officers within your jurisdictions, but also as attorneys before this bar. So I expect at all times for you to remain civil to one another, that you not engage in personal attacks, ad hominem attacks, that you not engage in theatrics, not misstate the facts or the law to the court, and that when you cite arguments in your briefs, if there is contradictory precedent, I expect to see that. I appreciate in advance what should go without saying that I've just said in terms of your responsibilities. But again, I just want to highlight that because I understand when the stakes are high, sometimes victory seems to be the objective when our first objective is to conform to the oaths that we've taken as members of the bar, as officers of this court. All right. I do have some matters with respect to scheduling that I want to go over today, but before I do that, I'd like to hear from you with respect to the matters that you either need to make me aware of or want to make me aware of. The other thing before I do that, though, I do know that Judge had entered a non-dissemination order. That still remains in place. And unless I, for some reason, remove that order It will stay in place, and I expect it to be religiously adhered to by all parties, counsel, victims, counsel for the victims, and I will not tolerate violations of that. Likewise, I know that much of the evidence in this case has been subject to orders sealing under that dissemination order or otherwise have been sealed by the court. I likewise expect everyone that has access to that information, whether it's sealed documents or information in sealed hearings or the information itself in the documents, to adhere to the confidentiality expected as it relates to those. Okay, that's my one and only lecture for you for the remainder of this case. With that, let me hear from you. We'll start with counsel for the state.
He's putting it down.
Your Honor, I don't know that we have specific questions we want to propose today. We're looking forward to hearing the scheduling. I think that's going to drive for us, particularly the distance.
Why is
involved.
his head cut
Any
off?
questions that we may have, I appreciate what you've already mentioned to us, and we will certainly honor all of that. Thank you, sir.
Taylor?
Thank you, Your Honor. There are a few issues that I wanted to make the court aware of as the court decides on the scheduling order. We want the court to know that our team has been working towards the June of 2025 trial date that had been issued by Judge in the case. But in candor to the court, I need to let the court know some issues that have come up that we face that causes me concern.
Oh.
First, I think the court's probably aware of the vast amount of discovery that's been exchanged in the case by reviewing the record. But since August, we have received about 398 gigabytes of new information, and I can tell the court that nobody on the team has read every bit of that yet. So there's a vast amount of discovery to continue to go through, and I wanted the court to be aware of that. The second thing is that
they
during
handed
the course
over
of
that
this
much.
case, we had an expert that we were working with, and that expert passed away. We have been able to refill that role to have a new
What?
expert to do the work that that expert was hired to do.
Oh no.
But we are not progressed to the point that I'd hope to be through no fault of the new expert. The court should be aware
What?
of that as well. And last, as the court is very well aware, the system of delivering public defense is changing next week. As appointed counsel in the case, I do not have a contract yet. Nobody on my team is under contract for this case. I'm concerned about what that means.
Oh
And I
no.
thought the court should be aware. Further, we have been able to access funding to help us prepare this case through Idaho Criminal Rule 12.2. At the current time, we're working with about 25 experts and investigators to prepare the case. I don't know if 12.2 will continue to be the way to get funding for those experts and investigators.
Oh
or that's
no.
changing. And I thought the court should know those things. Thank you.
Oh no. They're losing their money for experts and they're not even. Oh no.
So
And they lost an expert. Who?
I don't know. I don't know.
Fredrickson will ensure that the contract is available for you and your team next week.
Good.
I have no control over that, of course, other than to, as it
Dude,
relates to who
that's not
I
good.
permit to withdraw from this case or not withdraw from this case.
What? What? Who he
As
permits to withdraw?
12.2 funding, my understanding is, and I've had a discussion with Judge Munson, who has been serving, as I understand it, as what we refer to as the money judge. I've asked him to remain in that capacity at least through the transition to the state public defense system in next week on October 1. My understanding is, and perhaps I will come to find out something different, but that once it goes to that system 12.2 as it relates to public defense funded attorneys on contract seeking 12.2 funding, that's no longer a thing. That would come through the state public defense budget, essentially.
Okay.
Oh.
I guess we'll find out if that becomes a problem down the road, but that's
Oh
my
my
understanding.
gosh.
is that
Oh my
whole system
gosh.
that 12.2 is based
Oh.
upon is coming to an end. So
Whoa. It's coming to an end.
given your statement about the trial date, my proposal to move this case forward into May is probably not going to land well with you. But that's what I wanted to talk about. Is
May.
the timing of the trial.
May.
I'm concerned
Right?
with
Yeah.
a trial as currently set for a number of reasons. But first, I want to find out from you, as you sit here today, what that trial looks like in terms of the number of weeks of trial, starting from after a jury is selected through the end of the evidence and before any potential sentencing phase.
He'll get a real
So,
answer.
What are your estimates of that?
Your Honor, I think it would be a fair estimate
Oh.
based on what we know at this point.
This guy?
To have a month and a half or perhaps a bit more just for the evidence for the guilt phase of the trial. I say that knowing,
Both is that just your evidence, or does that include defense evidence?
well, I was just getting ready to say, I say that understanding or acknowledging that Ms. Taylor has estimated 2 to 3 months total.
3 months,
Do not
12
know- we
weeks.
do not know what the defense has in mind for their case right now. So all I can speak to is what we anticipate for ourselves. But I would think the state's evidence in chief should be able to come in a month and a half or so.
It's as loud as it can be.
His evidence could probably come in one day.
We estimate 4 weeks for the defense portion of the trial case.
Of the guilt phase?
Yes, Your Honor.
So 10 weeks. In terms of if there is a penalty phase, should the defendant be convicted of one of the statutory qualifying offenses, how long do we estimate the penalty phase being?
Your Honor, from the state's perspective, I believe we're going to be relying heavily on the evidence that's introduced during the guilt phase, and that the additional evidence that would be brought in, unless there's something we learned from the defense about their experts, it is probably take no more than a week.
Taylor?
Your Honor, I would estimate 2 weeks for that part of any trial.
So it's
That's
12
for-
weeks.
Our evidence.
For your evidence?
Yes.
Back to 12.
Okay.
Man, he might lose his whole team and experts because he might not be able to get it.
So my
Wow,
concern,
this is
because
crazy.
this trial is currently set to begin June 2nd and end approximately August 31st, is having it set to run the entire course of the summer. I think we will find to be difficult on jurors in particular, jurors who may have children who are out of school in terms of being able to
It's a good point.
spend time, go on vacations with them, et cetera. That's one concern. The second concern is with school that typically starts in mid to late August, and jurors or parents who may have kids going off to school, the timing of that through August. And that's my primary concern.
That's why he wants May.
Well, then that's gonna bring it into the summer, though.
I had 2 proposals.
Yeah,
One
but that's
was
the
to,
beginning of the summer,
start the trial,
not
in,
the whole summer,
the evidence portion of the trial, the first week of May.
right? See,
And
May
another
to
would be
June,
start
a month is
evidence,
already gone.
In early September. And I'd like your thoughts on this.
Whoa, what did he just say? I can't rewind it. It won't let me. What did he just say?
I'm not saying have or necessarily will vacate the June trial date, but I want to look at alternatives.
What about, he said
I am
maybe
concerned about
September?
that.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
what he
mean, that
said?
makes sense.
Takes the entirety
That
of
makes
the
sense to me. If you're gonna go 12 weeks and you don't want to do it over the
We agree,
summer.
Your Honor, by way of history, the summer, we
Yeah, I
advocate
just wanted to
for
make
that
sure I
in
heard him
Laycott
right.
County because the courthouse is right across from the high school, and the summer would have the students gone. If we were looking at the other 2 choices, we would propose May.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, give the defense less time to dig through it.
September.
Your Honor, I would have to advocate for September.
Thank
at this
you.
point, based on the 3 reasons that I
There you
gave
go.
the
There you
court
go.
before.
There you go.
Go, Judge Hippler.
There you go. You got to go September. You have to.
Yeah.
She just got 398 gigabytes in August.
So
That's a lot. When you're
kinda worried
talking,
about the
unless it, I mean,
public
footage
defense
even.
change, because I think that
I should know. I have all my footage. I know how much footage takes up
the one thing that you brought up the most. I mean, I understand
and how
there's a
much
lot
a
of evidence,
document
but
does.
you know, May is not tomorrow. May is many months away.
Yeah, but still.
So the one that concerns me that you brought up is your expert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you necessarily to give away any secrets prematurely that you may have in terms of defense strategy, but can you help me understand this expert, if you're able to, and what their role is and what the prospects are?
Your Honor, it's really difficult to tell you much about the expert without giving away a lot. I can tell you that this is a very necessary expert for us to have on board. We've been able to find somebody to fill the role.
Oh, it's a
I'm
her. I
confident
think I
in
know
the
who it
person
is.
that will fill the role. There just hasn't been enough time to get the
Mm-hmm.
work accomplished yet. I know that that doesn't tell the court a whole lot more than what I said before, but I really feel that that would
Write it on a
disclose
piece of
too
paper.
much for me to say more.
Write it on a
I
piece of paper.
could do
It's a
so
female, CJ.
on
She
an
said
ex
her.
parte
So we
basis
got a
or
big
with
hint who it
Judge
might
Lawson,
be.
our resource judge, but not in a public setting.
I understand. Do you anticipate being able to fulfill your obligations for your current expert disclosure deadline that was set by Judge?
I don't know.
No, not with a lot of confidence. I think that the work is going to take longer than to meet that deadline. I think if we met that deadline, I would have additional information that I would want to be able to present. And maybe I would have been stopped from that with that deadline.
September, Judge Hippler. That's it.
At least he's about business
Mm-hmm.
instead of a guy swinging by Floyd's gummies.
So I don't have a motion to extend that date, obviously, and with the changes that occurred, I understand why you didn't file one out of the box, but the deadline, I think, is January 6th, something like that, if I'm not mistaken, for experts on the defense side.
That's one of our deadlines, Your Honor, yes.
I guess does the state have anything to say in response?
Here we go.
Not knowing the details of the challenges Ms. Taylor and her team are facing, I don't really know how to respond further, Your Honor.
Yeah. Being we never hired a single expert for our team.
Yeah.
Add that.
What do you think is a realistic deadline for you to be able to disclose your experts for everything? I'm assuming it was January, all save that one expert. But with respect to the expert you had to replace, when do you think you could disclose
How's she
consistent
supposed
with
to know?
the scheduling order?
Impossible
Other
question.
than the expert that had to be replaced, Your Honor, there were two separate deadlines. One was for trial experts and one was for mitigation experts. And I believe that I can make that deadline other than that one expert,
Can you tell me if the one expert is a mitigation or a trial expert?
a mitigation expert, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, it's one of two. There's only two
What do you
mitigation
think you need
experts
for that
now.
mitigation expert in terms of a deadline? Compared, that mitigation deadline was,
I believe it was March. I don't recall the exact date.
yeah, so that's a long time from now. So, I have a lot of questions, but I'm hesitant to ask you the questions because I'm sure you're not in a position to answer them currently, given the forum. So, but March is a long time from now.
I do like this judge.
Me too, CJ.
Your Honor, the time passes very rapidly, and I appreciate the court not asking questions I can't answer. I think if I had an end of April deadline for that one witness, I think we could make that deadline.
He's thinking about it like I would be if I was sitting in that chair. I would be doing the same thing. All of it. Coming out saying, look, this is how we're doing it. Like, this is what it is. And then also approaching it with both sides in mind, and the public and the community. And
he's still assertive as well.
mm-hmm.
So understanding this is a mitigation expert, Thompson, how concerned are you about getting that disclosure closer to trial?
Closer to trial is somewhat relative. The end of April sounds like it would be on the eve of trial from the date the court is proposing. I think that would be, I'm not sure that would be realistic.
September.
And again, I'm not in a position to second guess
Sure.
What Ms. Taylor and her team are representing to the court. She had told us some time back that one of her experts had some health issues, and I think that she did tell us that that person had passed away and they were working on a replacement. If we're looking at a mitigation disclosure at the end of April, I don't know that we could be ready with all the trial
There you go.
preparation for a May trial.
But you're ready to go as soon as possible, though. And another question.
Throat in a sense, but that's realistic.
Now he's not ready, but they were way early ready a minute ago.
Come on, Judge
I can
Hitler,
do one of two
September.
things. I can set a separate hearing ex parte to explore this further, but I frankly don't know how far that's going to get me. I mean, I can set a date, and my experience tells me that date will be complied with regardless, right?
It better.
You're not going to mess with him.
But if you use enough of those hours, enough days in a row, you get it done if you have to. At the same time, I don't want to put unrealistic deadlines. And so I can do that. I can have an ex parte hearing, or we can go ahead and reserve September.
Aha, there you go.
So to you, Mr. Thompson, is what you want, what you would advocate for.
Yar, could I have just a moment?
Kid Kitty, you guessed it, September. We had this conversation. She knows everything.
Your Honor,
There we go.
trust the court to do the ex parte hearing, see what's there, and make the best decision, and tell us what the expectations are.
No hearing today.
Well,
He wants to set the
you
trial,
wanna do it
CJ and Rosie.
today, or you want to do it tomorrow?
Yeah,
You need more time? You want to come back next week?
he's already talking September.
Your Honor, I had
Mhm.
planned to leave town today. I have other case-related obligations tomorrow. I could do it as soon as this hearing's over if the court has time, or I can come back next week at the court's convenience.
They even had a
Probably
notification out
finished in
for it. It
February
was
3rd.
great.
If we were to do it immediately after, are you comfortable with that? Does that give you enough time to get to the airport?
Oh, wow.
Yes, I believe it will, Your Honor.
All right.
And
Well,
they're
we'll-
flying.
We'll give that a shot.
That's got to be expensive. They're flying there.
All right. If, if I move this one way or the other, I will adjust the various deadlines that are in here. I won't adjust the next deadline that you have, understanding that you may be already committed to it, which I think is the motions related to the defense's motion regarding the death penalty. If I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
that's next.
That's the next set of
That's
hearings
next.
that we have.
Those are now scheduled.
I believe that our briefs are due the 10th of next month, with the hearing later this fall.
November 5th is the hearing.
And we are on track to meet those deadlines, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, you were saying, counsel.
Your Honor, I'm guessing the court has received our motions already. I believe we were set for November the 7th.
I think the state's deadline for discovery has
Pass.
Has
Yes,
the state
sir.
complied with its discovery obligations, including those outlined in Judge's
September
last order
1st.
and other orders?
We have, Your Honor, and in fact, Ms. Jennings prepared a lengthy summary of all the discovery that was filed with the Latah County Court when our discovery deadline hit. It is lengthy, but there's a lot of discovery.
Yeah.
We recognize
How
that
much of the
He gave it all
first
like a
300
year ago. What do you
megabytes,
mean?
398 since August 13th.
How much of that is new information?
Right?
Ms. Jennings could speak to that.
Right. But still, it's
Ms.
something.
Jennings, can you speak to that?
Miss Jennings, get up.
Your Honor, the defense was given, and I'm not sure if this is what they're referencing, but they were given a copy of the OneDrive from the FBI. Most of it
Oh,
was
FBIGG.
punitive discovery that they had already received in another fashion. I'm sure there were portions of it that was new information. I've not calculated how much of that was new. So I can only rely on Ms. Taylor's, what she's represented to the court.
Unprepared. Not good. Look at his face, CJ.
Well, I don't think she knows because it doesn't sound like she's looked at it yet.
Not all of it, Judge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will talk when we're finished here with Ms. Taylor without the state present in a closed hearing.
Wow.
What else do we need to talk about today, or do you want to talk about today?
This guy's awesome.
I like him.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind right now, Judge. I know that there will be plenty of opportunity for other discussions. As far as your meeting with defense ex parte, do you want the state for any reason to stay around, or would you like us to get on the road back to Moscow?
Are you flying or driving?
Driving.
Okay. Well, why don't you hang around just in case we need to, if I'm able to make a decision based on that, I can inform you what that is at least.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anything further, other than your your motions regarding the death penalty? Do you have any outstanding motions and the motion as it relates to Mr. Kohberger's attire?
Your Honor, there's no outstanding motions right now. I do anticipate filing several motions in the motion to compel deadline. As far as discovery goes, I anticipate there may be some follow-up motions. I, of course, will first try to speak with the prosecutor to resolve those.
Right. I think you will find I'm probably more inclined to hear things more quickly than you're perhaps accustomed to in this case. So just be aware of that. It'd probably be more along the usual, 14-day timeline with respect to motions. If there's a lot that needs to be done with respect to them, we can talk about that. But okay.
On that point, Your Honor, as you can see, they're a multifaceted team, and on motions, we try to assign them to specific attorneys. On various motions, would it be acceptable to the court for those attorneys who are not actively arguing the motions to be able to participate remotely, or would you like us to be present? We're happy to do either.
I'm fine with that. I just prefer those that are going to be arguing to be here, just because it makes it easier to have that dialogue. So,
Okay, thank you.
The others, if they want to appear remotely, that's fine.
Thank you.
And same for defense as well, depending on what defense wants to do. Okay. All right. Then if there's nothing else this morning or this afternoon, I guess we will
Adjourn.
be adjourned and have a discussion in a few minutes. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Back in a few minutes once the courtroom is cleared.
So they're going into close now, CJ. We're not going to be able to see it anymore. Darn.
No.
Okay, we got lots to talk about, don't we, team?
Man.
Good kitty. She called every single one. Tib, What's the lotto tonight? Good numbers. If you could email those to me, I would appreciate it. He's all business, guys. This is a new sheriff that's in town, and I think he wanted to make that point perfectly clear. What do you think?
No, I'm glad because there's a couple things that Judge would have needed to take 2 weeks to make a decision on. This guy's like, hey, let's figure it out today in closed chambers. Let's figure it out.
So yeah.
And one thing that I thought was really important is he said, when you file a memorandum of law, I expect you to provide me not just what your side is, but also the contrary side. So this is now telling me that some of the shenanigans that we saw go on that caused delays, i.e. it took 9 months to get this trial moved. It probably should have been moved in January if Bill Thompson didn't fight it as hard as he did. And these 17 discovery motions to compel that are still outstanding. He wants to hear both sides. He doesn't want to just hear your side of your interpretation of the law, but he wants contrary legal argument as well. So he doesn't get reversed. This guy is all business.
Yeah, man, there was something.
The contract, CJ, I know that you were concerned about that. Her contract?
Yeah. Yeah. The experts, his whole team that have been working this whole time. Think about it. What if he loses his whole team because they're not going to be funded?
They're not going to be funded, yeah.
That means that he might end up being found guilty, because how is the new team supposed to decipher all of all of it that basically Ann Taylor's team has already spent a year and a half doing?
Well, this judge wants this trial off his docket. If BK loses everybody, with the exception of Jay's still paid. He's a public defender. But if he loses Eliza Mossop, if he loses Ann Taylor and all the experts, no way this is going to trial next year. This is a DP case.
Well, and I think when it comes to think about it like this: if they don't have the experts that have took the time to know what they can argue, then the trial goes even quicker because you have less of an argument.
Right.
When you have less of an argument, then you have more of a probability that you could be convicted. So I feel like if he loses Ann Taylor and those experts, and the new person comes in, the new team, that you lose a year and a half of experience and information and theories and all of the files in your head that you've gone through. I mean, I don't see how it could be good at all. And why would they pay? Why wouldn't they have somebody local be the new team, right?
Well, unless, we know Cy Ray is not being paid. A lot of times people will do work on high profile cases completely pro bono because they know that it will help them in the long run. If Ann Taylor wins this case, I mean, she can just basically sign her ticket, right?
But Cy Ray has to answer questions and somebody has to ask him. And I'm talking about the person that has to ask him.
So, we know at least one expert's not paid. That's Cy. He's completely pro bono. He offered that. Maybe some of the experts are also pro bono, and maybe the attorneys, Eliza, and we don't have to worry about Jay. Jay's a public defender. He's paid. Maybe Ann Taylor will say, hey, I've taken it this long. I think I can win this case. I'll just do it pro bono, and I'll look at an investment for my future.
She'll get paid.
She'll get paid one way or the other. I mean,
she'll get paid when the trial's over, regardless, however it ends.
Yeah,
Maybe she also wanted to get a sense of the new judge as well.
Didn't he say something about Judge Money? Judge Money about one of that there's
I don't
one
know.
judge.
I gotta rewatch it.
He said The money judge.
The money judge, yeah, somebody can push through maybe the contract, maybe for the experts to get paid under that local rule that they talked about. But her contract, yeah, that's something that's up. Maybe she can talk to him about that in this ex parte hearing.
Maybe.
Let me see.
Yeah, they were talking about 12.2. I wouldn't know what that is. But
Rosie, that's 12.2. I'm going to look that up later. Okay, thank you.
it says public defense funding attorneys and something to do with their contracts. That's 12.2. I don't know.
The other
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, it might not exist, so
the
they're
other
not going to
thing,
get paid.
Steve, to consider is that there are very few public defenders or that are DP qualified. That's the other thing. They're going to need somebody from Idaho who is DP qualified. So that's going to now shrink the pool as to anyone local. If anyone local is like a public defender local, I don't think there's anyone in Ada County who is DP qualified. I could be wrong on that. So it seems like I don't see Ann. I'm just going to make this prediction. I don't see Ann leaving this case. I think she's going to see it through.
I hope she don't.
Oh, yeah, that would be awful. What do you think about him coming out immediately and laying down the law of his expectations? What about when he said, I expect not just the attorneys, but also victims and their attorneys to abide by the non-dissemination order? I thought that was quite interesting.
It's like I would do when I'd be showing up at a new job to manage a bunch of employees that probably don't like me because I didn't rise up through, starting off at the very bottom. I was hired to come in and fix shit that somebody else didn't, and that's exactly what I would do to the team. I would come in, first meeting, look, I ain't about bullshit. I can't do success without you. We need to work together. You take care of me, I take care of you. But we're not going to be about bullshit because we got to maintain focus. We got to get the job done because we don't need to be spending all this other time trying to do the work that we can just get done now and go home early. So when I always went to my jobs in any of the management places, I would basically have a conversation with the people above me. And I would tell them, look, if I can get production at a certain level, if I can get costs down at a certain level, if I can have these teams working like a well-oiled machine, can I have control of the times of when they start, when they go home? And every job that I would go to, I would basically, in the first month or two, the production would be there, the cost would be down, they would see the level of production, and then I would get that opportunity to then extend it to the workers. And one of the best things that I could ever do for any of the people that work for me is I said, if you get your work done, you can go home for the day. Doesn't matter what time it is. You can go home for the day. If you wake up and you're sick on a Tuesday, guess what? Just do me a favor. Make sure you make up your hours before the end of the week so nobody has to come in on a Saturday. And you know what? Don't worry about having to come in late. All these different things. It was like, I don't want you to have to waste your vacation time because you woke up puking for 2 days. Get yourself better, and then we can figure out a way for you to make it up. There's always different things. You have to have an approach where that there's people in different situations that are coming from different experiences, and you have to make sure that you take care of everybody equally. And that's what he's doing, and that's what his approach is. It's like, look, I'm taking all the information. I'm telling you, I'm not about the BS. Now let's get to what you guys want to talk about, because I know that you guys are the ones that truly care. And what do you care to bring up? Like, what are your issues? What can we do to work them out today so we can progress more the next day so we can be successful and get the job done? I totally think, like, if I was sitting in that chair, I would be doing the same stuff. You know, let's not wait 2 weeks. Let's get it done today. Let's
Exactly.
talk to me in close strangers.
Yeah, I think that if we would have had this judge from the beginning, that there wouldn't have been the shenanigans with discovery, not being served in time. And I mean, it took them a year. They did not get one piece of IGG discovery, and they had been asking for it from January. They didn't get it until December of 2023.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, they may have gotten the rest from the FBI just now with this 390 additional gigabytes. But I agree. I think that he laid down the law so that if he sees any shenanigans, that he can then say, well, you remember when we had a conversation and I said the non-dissemination order, I said that I expected professionalism. I wouldn't want to cross this judge. I don't think that it's going like, how Judge was a few times. I think that BT really pushed it a lot, and he should have been sanctioned a lot. Well, he should have been sanctioned for the discovery violations and for not turning things over. Rosie, you sounds like you agree, huh? Or what do you think?
Yeah. No, I was just saying that I also feel like with the new judge's demeanor, you could see a difference in like BT and how he was conducting himself, how everybody was, like the conduct was matching that, what CJ was describing, that different level of just everything being better with the judge. And you could see everyone involved responding. Like it just worked.
Right. It was very professional. It was no nonsense. We're here for business. This man's life's on the line. No theatrics, no, going at each other and all this. One point that I wanted to bring up that I noted, I actually just covered this morning in an Indie Zone, one of my podcasts. It appears that he granted, at least for this hearing, BK's motion to be able to wear street clothes, because as we saw in this what about the much better video, you guys? I mean, we could see people in this as opposed to laptop.
Yeah.
But there was a motion that was, it sounds like he hasn't ruled on it. Maybe he said you can come to this first hearing in street clothes, but there's no ruling as I just checked the docket. And that motion's been pending since September 20th as to whether or not he's going to be able to wear street clothes for all pre-trial hearings.
Yeah, it's important, and I think like he's sticking with the dissemination stuff, so I'm sure he'll stick with. They're not trying to ruffle feathers, you know what I mean? It's not like he's approaching it like the previous judge fucked it up, He's approaching it with respect to what Judge has already ordered and approved, and I don't see them. It's more of a process that has to, paperwork,
I sincerely hope that he does something different. I think that we saw today, just this camera view was, I think
they need to bump some of them up a little bit because getting the head cut off.
We could see people. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, at least you could see people, as opposed to the only person that you saw at the other hearing was Judge, and then if there was a witness, the times that there were witnesses. So I think that this better camera was with respect to the public, so the public would be able to participate at least, in the hearing by virtually, by watching and seeing things. I hope that he starts opening up some of this Mount Everest of documents and evidence that has been hidden in this case. I've never seen anything like this. And it is until you look at the docket that you appreciate how much stuff is under seal. And I've said this before. You're going to say 52 gigabytes. There's not a photograph of a stop sign in the first pile of discovery that you could have released. You couldn't have redacted something. What is this nonsense that we can't release information because it would endanger someone on the outside, life or safety, as they've used over and over again? And I keep saying, if the sole and the correct defendant's been behind bars, whose safety is in danger? That's one thing I hope, you guys, that he does, is open up this case a little bit to the public without harming, of course, his Sixth Amendment privileges, but there is a First Amendment as well.
Well, I'm sure once he starts getting into it and he starts reading, getting caught up more and more and more, I'm sure that might happen. There's a long time until trial's going to start, so I'm sure he's going to review. He's just getting started. He just got started. I'm sure once he starts reviewing a lot of the stuff, he's going to sit there and go, there's no reason for this. You know, I really
It is-
feel
Yeah.
I see it happening. It's just going to take some time
And
for him to get caught up.
I'm going to make the prediction that if BK has a chance to have this case go away before trial on, let's just say, a motion to dismiss on a Fourth Amendment violation, once they start seeing what this IGG is all about, he's got a better shot at it happening here, because I think that this judge understands the law and understands that, you know, you just can't keep hiding things and saying, oh, well, I can't tell you how we got to your client, Miss Taylor. You know, that's a big secret we know about. Trust us. The big.
Oh, you see what Bill Thompson's going to do. He showed it to you right here. This is why I feel like he's going to retire. He's going to come up with some kind of health reason to retire before the trial even starts, and Ashley Jennings is going to be the one that's going to be handling the case.
CJ,
there's two things you want to pay attention to. We're going to go through it. I want to go through the court episode again in a few days, but there's two things to pay attention to what happens in the interaction. Number one, Bill Thompson says, well, Ashley can actually answer that for you, and she wasn't expecting it, caught off guard, and was like this and this. You can already see the deflection and the gaslighting, because now it's time to put up or shut up, and he don't have the put up, so he's got to deflect it to Ashley. And then at the end, when the judge asks, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about, Ashley is the one that tells Bill that there's nothing to talk about.
Well, you bring up an excellent point, because remember when this case was still in Latop for about the last 5 or 6 months, you didn't hear word one from Mr. Thompson. He just sat there. He was there, but he sat there with writing things or with his head down. And and this was in front of a judge I think he had a long relationship with, that he could possibly have things go his way. He got a real lesson today. That's not going to happen here. You need to come. You need to be prepared. He's not going to play any games. So I think you made the prediction that the chief was going to retire, which he did. You made the prediction as to who the new chief was going to be. And I think this was your third prediction. You
made the prediction when the house was going to get demoed too. I told everybody on Halloween it was going to get demoed before the semesters, in between the semester.
That's right. And you also said it's at least a year ago, you predicted that Thompson would retire before this. And I said, CJ, why is he going to retire? He's got his, judge over here. I think he wants to retire with a big win. Nope. No, I wasn't thinking about possible change of venue. And we're going to see, the judge that we saw today, I think he was pretty intimidated, and then he's thinking, I got to drive 3 hours when I could be sitting at home and playing my guitar, wherever, and, hanging out in Moscow. Yeah. I think that's a reality.
Normally he would be the one answering to Ashley if there was anything left to talk about. He had to get an answer from Ashley this time. It's already playing out in front of your face. You can see it. Bill Thompson is already starting the transition. And I bet you he retires when the trial was originally supposed to start in June.
In June. So you see this trial going to September?
Yeah, I see it going to September, and I see him retiring in May or June. Health reasons.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm serious.
I think today we saw a different person. Don't you remember him? Just pounding the desk and like he owned the courtroom and everything. He was very subdued today. And he pretty much said, hey, judge, the trial's got to be in September because he can't be getting expert disclosures on the eve of trial, which would be like the end of April, which is what Ms. Taylor had said. Okay, can't be getting expert disclosures then on the mitigation. So, I think we're going to be seeing the trial order for September in this case. And it's going to be Ashley Jennings will be chair one. And don't forget, they also have the two from the assistant AGs, on the team as well.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I'm thinking because this hurricane's coming through, so I might do like a show on, depending on what this hurricane's doing. I definitely want to cover this court hearing again because there's a lot of other stuff that I wanted to include in it as well. We didn't even get to, so I definitely want to have a show in it. Maybe it might be tomorrow, it might be Saturday. It just depends what's going on with the hurricane here, and then my efforts for Sebastian. What I do want to do though before I end the show, and thank you both. What a crazy court hearing! If you guys want to hop back on for the next one when we cover it again, I'm going to use KTVB's version. Um, I thought we were going to be able to rewind it and pause it, but it wasn't. It wasn't allowed to do that. So, but I do want to cover it. There's a lot of notes, a lot of things to talk. I want to bring a lot of the other stuff into the conversation that I wanted to. So we'll definitely have a show in a day or two. I do want to end this episode on that incel theory at Queen Road Apartments Part 1, because that is the one video that I wanted to make sure that everybody saw in this episode when it came to the footage that I brought to you in the beginning. So if you came here from the court hearing on, do me a favor after you watch this, or do me a favor, go to the beginning of the show, watch where I'm going through the footage, and then go ahead and skip to this part where I show you guys, because the footage is really going to help you understand what I'm trying to say when I'm saying this stuff right here. And I'm going to be using my real footage.
Good.
After that, I'm going to end the show. I got another Sebastian Rogers show coming up here shortly, and I still have to get something to eat and get a little bit of rest before the show tonight. If you, there's a lot of stuff coming out with the Sebastian. We've been doing a lot of work with Sebastian Rogers' case, and I think there's some stuff that's, I think there's a lot of stuff that is going to expose the truth and maybe what actually was going down. So thank you again. I'm going to drop their channels in the chat. If you're not subscribed to Rosie Commercial Zone, I will drop their links in the chat. Please go subscribe. I'm going to end it on this. This is about a 19-minute video, and this is my part 2, because my part 1 was before I went to Moscow, and my part 2 was after I came back, and I basically explained and put you there with the footage like we did in the beginning of this episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's about 19 minutes, and I hope you all enjoy. This is my theory, part 2, Queen Road Incel theory at Queen Road. And we'll be going through this on Monday. We're going to dig into it more, and I'm going to read an article. So if you haven't been introduced to this incel theory at Queen Road Apartment video, definitely check it out tonight after the show's over, because listen to what I'm going to read. Listen to this, what I'm going to read now, okay? So when I'm talking about the Queen Road Apartment incel theory, I'm going to read this final paragraph, okay? When I'm talking, and I want to apologize for the shit style edit. I'm still, this was done 7 months ago. I'm still trying to get better every day. You can see the difference. It is a shit edit. I apologize. Okay. When I'm talking about the incel theory at Queen Road Apartments, this is what I'm talking about. Let me go back just a little bit. It says, the very first night was traumatic and gave me a very bad taste in my mouth about everything. Through my window, I heard a lot of students partying outside, and I wondered, with a great amount of fear, how would I ever be able to join in on their fun? That was the reason I was there, after all. I didn't think I was capable of it. Later in the night, I heard a boy and a girl having sex in the apartment above me. Just knowing that the other young men get to enjoy the pleasure of sex while I get none of it has always filled me with envious rage, as well as bitter hatred towards the world. But to actually hear them doing it, that was even more traumatizing. I was prepared for this, however. I had done a lot of research about college life in the town, and I knew that students had a lot of sex there. I had an inkling of suspicion that I would eventually hear or even see people doing such things if I lived in that environment. Hell, the reason I moved there was because it was a sexually active place. I myself wanted to be sexually active, but when I heard that the couple above me having sex, I couldn't help feeling vile and miserable about it. I tried to calm myself down and convince myself that soon I will be doing the exact same thing. How was I wrong? Yes, Christina, we are going to be going into that as well. I know it's been a discussion before. But when it's coming from me, and you can go back to all of my shows until the trip that I went to Moscow, you can go to every single one of my damn shows, and I laugh at the incel theory. I laugh at it. I laugh at it. The day that I got there and I parked in that parking lot behind 1122, that's when I said to myself, that incel theory's spot on. And I'm just not saying it's an incel theory as just an incel theory. I'm saying incel theory as in the dude or people lived at Queen Road Apartments. So True Crime Overtime with Rosie and me are going to be we're probably going to be having a 4-hour show Monday. It's going to be Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, and it's probably going to be a 4-hour show. I appreciate that. Well, it's like I explained it to Rosie today. I said, when I was in high school, I got hit with the acting bug. I was always acting. I was always fascinated with movies before I even... Okay? So what you do is you can put yourself, and this is how I explain it to people when it comes to like this situation right here. I put myself in a situation. Not that I'm a person that's capable of doing these things, because I'm not. There's no way that I could be capable of doing these things, okay? But when I can be a person that was able in the past to, just like an actor, just like an actor, like Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors. Does he act the same in every movie? No. When you're an actor, you put yourself in that person's shoes. A lot of it has to deal with empathy, right? If you have the ability to empathize, you have the availability to put yourself in somebody else's shoe. When you have an extra ability of empathy, you have an extra ability to put yourself in somebody's shoes, whether it's good or bad. When I got to that parking lot and I sat there and I was smacked in front of my face and I saw how close this house was to the vehicle, I said I instantly put me, going back to acting, I instantly put me into the mind of an incel. What would the incel do? What would the incel be doing? How would the incel do it? Where would the incel be? Where would the incel be coming from? What would the incel do after? What would somebody else do? Not an incel. All of these different situations instantly flood my brain. And then what happens is when you put yourself like that person in that situation, right, Alpine, you become. And when you become, that's when, oh my gosh, if you guys go back to my lives and you go back to the first time that I was introducing this incel theory, and you sit there and I'm like sitting there talking about somebody smoking a cigarette, looking through the windows, watching one of the girls put on makeup. It's creepy because it's shit like that that really makes you understand the mind. I bet you there's got to be groups out there that discuss all these things, chat rooms, all this other stuff. So then it's like, you know what? Who's to say, right? Because I've always said, yo, if it was more than one person, how could you stay quiet, right? Multiple people. How is everybody going to stay quiet? There's always a weak link in a chain. Always. Period. Always. Why wouldn't have that one person, that weak link, why wouldn't have something came out, even if it was slight, right? Until everybody, you get introduced with the fact that there are chat groups out there specifically for incels that have these thoughts, people. And who's to say the incel didn't recruit or gather up other incels that are just as angry? Who says the incel that was in the back of this parking lot wasn't taking a video with his GoPro, showing the other incels, look at this shit, guys. This is what I have to see every time I come home. I have to see this fun taking place in front of me. Look at this, guys. This is my GoPro. This is the incel that I'm talking to from Montana. This is the incel that I'm talking to from Utah. Look at this, guys. Isn't this a joke? And they get just as mad as he does. That's why a group of people, nobody says nothing. And I didn't even think about it today until me and Rosie had our conversation, because to me, I'm like, I always came from a spot where I'm like, yo, how does one person, how does the getaway driver not be out there claiming that he was one of them that committed the crime? Because the getaway driver does. He doesn't want to go around and tell people he was a getaway driver. Why would he tell people he's a getaway driver? There's always a weak link. Somebody would have talked, unless Introduced in my mind today, shout out True Crime Overtime with Rosie. Introduced in my mind today, it could be a group of people in a chat group having the same freaking issues. Look, guys, look at what my GoPro. You see this shit? Damn, Billy. That's fucked up, Billy. You shouldn't have to see that every time you go home, Billy. What are you going to do about it, Billy? Do you want us to help you? That's the reason why we can't be successful in our life. Those are the dudes that the reason why we can't have sexual relations with females. It's because of those people why we can't have what they have. Just knowing that the other men get to enjoy the pleasures of sex while I get none has always filled me with envious rage, as well as bitter hatred towards the world. But to actually hear them doing it, that was even more traumatizing. I was prepared for this. Remember, guys? Incel at Queen Road, they were prepared. They had already went through this multiple times in their head while they continued that obsession. They already knew. They probably had 5 different ways on how to commit that crime because they played that through their heads. They played it through their heads sitting back there because they knew it was going to happen. They knew it. The first time they came across it, just like this gentleman, the first time they come across it, oh, we already know where it's going to go. It's just a matter of time. And as your obsession grows deeper, as you sit back there and it gets deeper and deeper, and you're just one car spot over, and you can see, just like in last night's show, there's pictures, you can see the car parked next to me through the sliding glass door. Through the sliding glass door on the second floor, through the sliding glass door on the third floor. You can see both windows. You don't have this in front of me, but I tell you right now, the reason that they probably parked in this same spot is because this is the spot that you can park and they can't fucking see what you're doing, but you can see what they are. You can't see me, but I can see you from this spot. You want that clear view of the inside of the property? Incel theory at Queen Road? Guess what? You get out of your car, you walk a little bit to the left, and you stand there in the dark. And guess what? Do you think anybody's going to see you in the dark? Do you think somebody's going to notice your car in the dark? Do you think somebody's going to notice? And you can see every damn thing that took place in the downstairs, the upstairs, kitchen. When I say you park one spot over, look, you got the window in the kitchen you can see through too. There's that one. And then here's Kaylee's room. So when you're parked in the back, that's creepy as fuck. And nobody can see you. And the reason nobody can see you is because even if you have those Christmas bulbs out on the front patio, all lit up like we seen them, It don't matter because that light, like I told you, in the daytime, they can't see you. In the daytime, they can't see you in the daytime. There's too much, but you can see them. They can't see you in the nighttime either. I'm headlights from an SUV. Do you see the house behind me? Do you see the cement slab that's down to the left of me? Do you see the corner of the house? I do, very, very slightly, to the left side of the bush. Very slightly. You don't see, and these are headlights from an SUV shining onto the house. You don't see my light. Do you think that them little Christmas bulbs hanging from the second floor sliding glass door, you think that's going to light up on my face while I'm sitting here watching? No. No. Instead, I get a free view of here where I can be hidden, and I can have another free view of where I'm parked back here. That person could have thought 5 times the crime. 5 times the crime. We're going to be going in depth when it comes to my incel theory at Queen Road Apartments. You know, why I feel that way. We'll be going into it. We're going to be going more into this. I don't know if we're going to read the whole thing. We'll probably read excerpts from it because we're going to be introducing more information in other things with the whole show. So there's going to be other parts to it that we're going to get into and stuff that we're going to be going over the next few days. Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Okay over there?